How are you, fellow Africans? Today is another day that I would like to share with you valuable information about Africa. I hope you are well. Today I want to talk about why Africa must unite. But the first question is that, can we achieve United States of Africa within the shortest time? There was a debate in 1963 of OAU between Julius Nyerere, that is the former president and the founding father of Tanzania, and Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, that is the founding father of Ghana, which also contributed to the delay of the formation of United States of Africa. Nkrumah was saying, let's not get too comfortable in our little states. Let's quickly move to United States of Africa, because when we become too comfortable in our own nation, in our own nation states, you don't want to limit your position. Nyerere disagreed that let's move break by break, slowly, gradually towards the formation. We build ECOWAS, etc., AU, etc. Then eventually, from the United States of Africa, through gradualism, Nkrumah lost in the debate. So, they move on the process of gradualism. And now, this is the biggest problem that made the formation fail even till current presidents. When we are successful in the AU, then we will have United States of Africa. But my people, will the current leaders of Africa agree? That's the big question. Many African leaders are not ready, so they talk reasonable aggression but don't action on it. When we embrace joint aggression, you will lose elements of national sovereignty. There will be no president, but people will be living in better life. What's wrong with that? Africa leaders are standing blow. They want to be president of starving people. These are some of dynamics among our current African leaders because they pay least service to reasoning. Having said that, let me move on and explain to you the 10 reasons why Africa must unite. Kwame Nkrumah once said, and I quote, "Africa must unite or perish. Without genuine African unity, our continent will remain at the mercy of imperialist domination and exploitation." Below are 10 simple yet profound reasons why Africa must unite under a socialist economic system. And I'm going to explain to you the 10 reasons one by one. Number one is the Africa's wealth. Africa is extremely wealthy. In fact, it is the wealthiest landmass on the face of the earth. This wealth can be found in its abundant mineral resources and in its huge agricultural potential. Africa's mineral wealth includes a wide variety and huge volume of resources that are critical to the technical and industrial development of humanity. Example: gold, platinum, diamonds, manganese, cobalt, chromite, coltan, coal, radium, iron, ores, chromium, copper, lead, zinc, tin, titanium, antimony, tantalum, germanium, lithium, phosphates, bauxite, uranium, germanium, lithium, phosphates, basalite, uranium, petroleum, and natural gas. Similar figures could be provided regarding Africa's agricultural potential, which remains largely untapped. Although there are an estimated 632 million hectares of arable land in Africa, only 179 million hectares are actually cultivated. That is less than 30% of its arable land. As With Africa's mineral resources, this arable land is unevenly distributed. In fact, in just 4 countries, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Nigeria, and the 2 Sudans, where nearly 40% of this uncultivated land is located. There is enough agricultural rich land to feed Africa's 1 billion population several times over. However, because this wealth is unevenly distributed, showing no relationship to the artificial, imperialist embossed division of the continent, this wealth can only benefit the masses of African people who it's shared on a continent when it is shared on a continent-wide basis. The reason number 2 why Africa must unite is about pooling investment resources. To invest in large-scale production in both industry and agriculture, a large amount of investment resources is needed. When Africa unites, it will be able to pool its investment resources to ensure that it will have enough money to invest in the large-scale production of industrial and agricultural goods and services. Once Africa unites, it will no longer have to be begging the World Bank, the IMF, and various donors nations of the world for loans that are tied to very high interest rates and exploitative conditions designed to keep Africa impoverished and dependent. Africa's total foreign reserve held by African Central Bank is $500 billion. That is 510 billion separately. The various individual states in Africa will never be able to raise the funds required to invest heavily in any aspect of production, especially in the production of heavy equipment designed to build cars, trucks, tractors, roads, bridges, trains, ships, airplanes, and other basic items required of the 21st century. Let each African country invest 5% of its foreign reserve into a giant African infrastructure bond. In short, genuine African unity, where the wealth and resources of this great continent are amassed in the great Bank of Africa and shared amongst its people, is the only alternative for Africa to avoid begging for loans that are designed to keep Africa poor and in perpetual debt. The reason number 3 is optimal market size. Only a united Africa with its more than 1 billion people can provide the requisite market size to stimulate large-scale production. In fact, according to African Union figures, the actual purchasing power of the continent of Africa is 1.515 trillion, which will place it, if it were one nation, as the 11th highest purchasing power country in the world. However, as it stands, a weak and divided Africa has been forced to turn its purchasing power, that is, its various balkanized markets, over to the United States and various other industrialized nations of the world. These nations, in turn, use this so-called free market opportunity to flood Africa's market with goods, many of which are of very dubious quality, produced by their large-scale factories, plants, and farms. These factories, plants, and farms, because of the huge size of their market, benefit from what economists call, quote-unquote, economies of scale, and are therefore able to produce their goods at a cheaper cost per unit. Additionally, these same companies often benefit from their government's effort to protect them from international competition in the form of government subsidies. of Europe, Asia, and North America. This is especially the case when trying to court foreign direct investment, that is FDI, for while there will always be occasions when Africa could benefit from FDI. The terms of agreement will never be in our favor if we try to bargain with a stronger industrialized nation under our current balkanized status. We will always lose. However, once Africa is united, it will be in the best position to set the terms of agreement between it and any potential foreign investor. Number 6 is about common currency. One of the best ways to integrate Africa's economy, enhance inter-African trade, and gain control in setting the prices of African exports is through the use of a common currency. A common African currency will eliminate the transaction costs customers pay when buying a different currency other than their own, especially for those involved in the African trade. Secondly, the prices of goods and services will be more transparent and thus more comparable when there is a common unit of account. Thirdly, the African common currency will become an international currency of higher value that billions of people inside and outside of Africa will have to acquire in order to purchase anything made and sold anywhere in Africa. Number 7, the seventh reason is about continental planning. Only a united Africa can plan continentally. Indeed, the major problems facing Africa do not affect the various states separately, nor can they be solved separately. E.g., global warming is having a devastating impact on our major river basins in Africa, including the Nile, Congo, Zambezi, Niger, and Orange River basins. They are slowly and in some cases swiftly drying up. But how do we solve this problem when each of these major river basins interacts with several African microstates in all of the 5 regions of Africa? Can or should anyone, the 5 regions of Africa, can or should anyone African country solve this problem when ultimately the entire continent is being affected? In fact, all of the major challenges facing Africa require continent-wide solutions based on continent-wide scientific planning. For instance, there is absolutely no reason for the people of Africa to be going hungry anywhere on the continent due to drought with these huge water bodies located throughout the continent. However, with less than 5% of African land being irrigated, is there any wonder that our rain-dependent agriculture system throughout the continent are unable to feed all of its people? Independent of the critical need to irrigate the continent, which perforce is a continental-wide task, both financially and planning-wise. The agriculture potential of a great continent can only be realized when we plan continentally. To make this happen, after all, just one country, the DRC, has the agricultural potential to feed the whole of Africa. How then are our people starving when just one of Africa's 54 microstates is capable of feeding the entire continent? That's a question that we should ask ourselves. The reason number 8 is providing landlocked countries access to the sea. A united Africa will allow nearly 20 African countries to acquire the benefits of having immediate access to the sea, with slightly more than 70% of the Earth's surface covered by the ocean. The benefits of having immediate access to marine life are tremendous. They include minimally food, medicine, raw materials, mineral resources, tourism, and the protection of geopolitical strategic interests. Number 9, the reason number 9 why Africa must unite is resolving internal conflicts and disputes. That's about military defense. The Balkanization of Africa at the infamous Berlin Conference of 1884 to 1885 not only created small, economically non-viable dependencies, it also endangered or exacerbated ethnic and religious hostilities throughout the continent. This long-standing strategy of divide and rule was used to perfection throughout Africa, which now has more borders than any other continent on earth. That is 166 borders. The recipe was simple: fossilize Africa's various ethnic groups, many of whom were historical rivals, then force them under the same national roof. Independence then will be brought with so many ethnic hostilities that achieving national integration, political stability, and economic development will be practically impossible. As a result, we have an entire continent replete with interstate and interstate conflicts, many of which over the years have blossomed into full-scale civil wars. However, only a unified African government, buttressed with the full-scale might of an all-African military high command, will be able to resolve these conflicts and end these wars. The UN, NATO, EU, USA, or any other entity outside of Africa can never and will never solve our problems. None of them have the interest, the will, means, or mandate to do so. Instead, if left in their hands, they will only make matters worse in order to make Africa more malleable for continued imperialist domination. Number 10, and the final reason why Africa must unite, is about asserting the African personality. Despite the cultural diversity that exists among the African people, there is a far greater degree of cultural unity that exists wherever you find Africans in the world. This is especially obvious in the common African ethos that binds us together as one. Our core values of humanism, collectivism, and egalitarianism, for example, are demonstrated among the masses everywhere. Even our sense of being, space, and time are fundamentally different from other people in the world. However, because of our status as a dominated people without power to determine our destiny, we are rarely able to have our view of the world expressed, regarded, or respected in any meaningful way by the rest of the world, and especially in any of the various corridors of power. Once Africa unites, however, the rest of the world will have to sit up and take notice. We will take our seat on the Security Council of the United Nations and be free to express to the fullest the most salient characteristics of what O.S. Agiefo, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah termed the African personality. For that much information, I would like to thank you for listening to me. I have expatiated more than 10 reasons why Africa must unite. And it is not only those 10 reasons, but there are myriad of reasons why Africa should and must unite. So, fellow Africans, I have belief in this young generation that when we enlighten the youth across Africa and we start changing the conversation about Africa, we liberate our mind and from colonization, then I'm confident that we are going to achieve the United States of Africa. Eventually, I'm confident, and I'll continue enlightening and bringing awareness to my people until it is done. Thank you so much. Viva.